Welcome to the Hobby Jogger Podcast, where elite athletes and ham and eggers lace up their stories. We explore the common ground that running creates, from the world-class runner to the hobbyist hitting the pavement, trail, or treadmill. Expect a blend of inspiration, laughter, and the shared joy that makes every step count. Join us on this journey where every run is a story worth sharing. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Hobby Jogger. I am once again joined by my co-host with the most, Mr. Rob Myers. Rob, how are you?
Doing well. Excited to have a conversation with the Racin Grayson.
That's right. Aptly nicknamed the Racin Grayson. Great name for someone who makes a living racing. But Grayson she is our guest today. She's also a pro runner for Saucony, a 5-time U.S. champ, 2-time world champ. That's some Ric Flair numbers there. And most importantly, what I think is the most impressive, she is the founder of Wild Strides Paper Co. Grayson, welcome to the Hobby Jogger. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. It's exciting to be here today with you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Very excited to have you on. You're one of you might be so far the only pro runner that I know that takes my theory that football or soccer players become the best trail runners. So that's how you started out your career. So I'm very excited to finally have that theory, proven to me. And now it might be a law now, Rob. I don't know. When do theories become laws?
I don't know, man. You haven't had a lot of luck with that theory. I'm glad that you're right at least once.
Rob, you're supposed to have my back.
I do.
So Grayson, you did start out as a footballer, a soccer player, correct? That was your whole life growing up.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I did growing up, and all the way through my freshman year of college everything was about soccer.
I like it. So started out youth. I'm sure like U6s your parents had you at the Grasshopper Field, playing.
We were a little older. I think I was probably 9 or 10 when we started playing more than just PE soccer, but yeah, that was kind of it for us. I say us because I had a twin sister. I have a twin sister, so everything we did was in us, and it's still say it that way.
Gotcha. What's your sister's name?
Maddie.
Maddie. Okay.
Madeline and Grayson, but we go by Maddie and Grayson now.
Nice. You would fit in well here in Ohio, Grayson. I know a lot of Graysons because Scarlet and Gray, Ohio State is a big thing here, apparently. I don't know. Rob knows more about that than me. I'm not from Ohio, so.
Yeah, they're a pretty big deal.
Wow. I need to come visit. I've never been to Ohio, actually. Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You didn't run some race in Canton, Ohio?
Oh, I did. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because I was making, because Wikipedia is not always correct.
I only saw Canton and the little airport nearby. That's all I saw.
That's Akron Canton Airport. Fabulous airport. Cheap flights from Breeze Airlines. Shout out Breeze to a lot of places and direct flights as well. So, yeah, you got to see our little airport. Did you get to see? I imagine it was around the Hall of Fame, correct? Was it centered around there?
I don't actually know. It was in June. But that was it. Yeah.
Okay, so one trip here to
count it.
So you played soccer, played in high school, went to college to play, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What stopped because you didn't run any track or cross country, it looked like, correct, in high school?
Nope, I didn't.
Because that was like your punishment.
Yeah, that was sad. I always felt bad for the track and cross country kids when they had to go for a run while I got to go play soccer practice.
Yeah, because I know I was thinking about it, looking into this a little bit, and I remember the cross country kids and the track kids in my school had shirts like, our sport is your sport's punishment. That was like their big tagline. I was like, I'm never going to run. That's silly. That's not something I want to do, is just run around aimlessly for hours. Right, Rob?
Oh, yeah. No, I remember doing that as a punishment. The gym teacher would say, go give me some laps. You'd ask how many, and They'd never tell you, just keep going.
Go grab a tree off of or a leaf off of that tree was always our go-to. Which tree, coach? That one way over there. Got it.
At least you had a goal.
What yeah, we had a goal. That was yeah. And you couldn't cheat because you had to bring back a leaf. So what made you give up soccer in pursuit of running?
It just college soccer was not all I kind of imagined it would be. I had a great time in high school soccer and on my club team traveling with a bunch of my friends. And I don't know what I expected really, but the experience I had was not that. And I think I realized I had some issues with the coaches there. They weren't the best people to be dealing with either. And all of that combined kind of killed my love for the sport. And so I decided to transfer because I was also in Virginia and I'm from Salt Lake. So it was a very big move across the country to a region of the US I really had not spent much time in. And I realized quickly that I'm not an East Coast person. I'm very much a West Coast person, a mountain person, and I just didn't fit in. So I decided to transfer, and my transfer criteria was based on engineering programs because that's what I was studying. So it was more of an academic decision that kind of drove everything. And once I landed on a school, which was Santa Clara, to transfer to with a good engineering program, I realized how am I going to make friends? Because my whole life I've been on teams and the friends have just kind of come to you. You're put on a team and you get 12, 15 friends automatically. And how am I going to do this now that I'm not on a team? So I thought, well, I know I'm fast. Everyone tells me I'm fast on the soccer field, so why don't I try and translate that into track or cross country? I honestly didn't know what cross country was, so I was thinking about track at that time. As I reached out to the coaches there and asked if I could walk on or have a tryout, and they said sure. And kind of the rest is history. I didn't meet the coaches till I showed up at the school for orientation and kind of, yeah, went from there. And it evolved quickly. I quickly learned I was going to be on both the track and cross country team if I wanted to run track for them. And so I had to quickly learn what cross country looked like.
Yeah, that's one that was new to me. So we had a cross country track coach on, Caleb Bowen. He's ultra guy, and we had Abby Herring on, who made nationals in cross country. But you kind of have to run cross country and track in college, which I never put that together. Did you, Rob?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it seems like two vastly different sports to me. But what do I know? I'm the hobby jogger, so.
Once you're running long distance, so I mean, we had 800-meter girls on our cross country team, but they treated cross country as more of a base building season. But when you're running the 5K, it's a 5K on grass or a 5K on rubber. So there's not a ton of difference and not in the training. But yeah, I did not know that going into it. So that was fun. I ended up on two teams trying to get onto one.
And that had to be a pretty tough transition for you, going from Virginia, playing a sport that you played your entire life. You kind of, in a sense, I mean, you get your heart broken because this is the sport that you've known for so long and you spent so much time playing. Now you find yourself back out in the West Coast. And was that a tough transition time for you mentally just because of all that kind of change?
It was a lot of new stuff, but when I look back, I don't feel like it was hard. The year that I spent in Virginia was much harder dealing with loss of identity there and homesickness. Had never experienced that before, and now you're 18 and 2,000 miles away from home. Yeah, so compared to that, California felt a lot easier, and I kind of went into it I didn't go into it thinking I want to be the best at this running thing. I just thought I want to go make some friends because I don't want to join a sorority, so this is the next best option here. And I want to stay fit. I don't want to like go get fat or something like sitting in class all day. So this is a good way to get exercise and make friends and stay healthy. And with that in mind, I kind of went into it with just a newbie mentality and everything was just like, oh, that's cool, or teach me how to do this. And every day you're getting better, which was cool. So yeah, it wasn't that hard actually, but I think the circumstances I came from made it that way.
The reason you just gave is the same reason older runners run, right? It's to meet new people. You have your friend group. You're constantly expanding the number of friends in the group and then going to new places to run and have a good time. I mean, it just continues. I know that's the main reason I run. Casey's the same way. Exercise and hanging out with your buddies.
Yeah, good way to kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, and sports really are the ultimate social tool, I think, because I moved from Pittsburgh where I played for a very good soccer club. I moved here and the coach like he big timed me. And I was like, I told you the club I played for. Okay, that's fine, whatever. So I ended up joining the rugby team. I'd never played rugby before, and then met some of the best friends that I have. Because I needed, like you, Grace, and I needed, something to make friends. And now running has transitioned. I mean, that's how I met Rob, David, our producer, same way. A bunch of other friends that I now have through running. So sports are like the ultimate social tool. And I'm glad to see all these run groups starting up around and run clubs and, just way to meet up to get people off of the internet spaces where you don't really know someone and out doing something healthy and more fulfilling, I guess. So sports have a way.
That's one of the best parts about running, I think, is the friends you make along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's been one of my favorite things. Everywhere we go now, Rob, we see people we met or, had on the show. Very cool community, awesome community. You're a huge part of that community, especially the trail community, which I like to follow, Grayson. You've very well accomplished these short trail events, which I think. Can you real quick explain to our listeners what it is that you kind of specialize in as a runner now, as a professional runner?
Sure. I guess, well, I still race on the road. Like I'll be doing road races this spring through May and then switching to track, or trail, not track. Pretty typical of my usual schedule throughout the year, keeping it all terrain and the only reason I think I can do this effectively is because I run sub-ultra trail races. And more specifically, I would say people probably would say I'm more of like a mountain trail racer because the mountain distances are usually around 15K. They usually take between an hour and an hour and a half. They're really short, really steep, usually quite technical lung burners. And
Grayson, that's an hour and a half for you, not Rob.
yeah.
Yeah, that's you. Rob and I, 3-4 hours. Send out a search party, maybe. We don't know. Hey, folks, if you're loving the stories, tips, and laughs we're dishing out, make sure you don't miss an episode. Hit that subscribe button so you're the first to know when a new episode drops. And hey, if you've got a second, why not leave us a review? Your feedback helps us improve and keeps this running community growing. Lace up, hit subscribe, and let's get back into the show.
They're short, but yeah, so they're a little bit different of a discipline. That's my 2 world titles are in that discipline. It's fun. They're, I think, short and quick. They more closely approximate maybe a half marathon or a 10K on the track. And yeah, I think they're pretty cool.
Yeah, we think they're pretty cool. We watched the Vertical K, the live stream of it out at Palisades, where Western State starts. I didn't see. Did you participate in that?
Nope, I wasn't in that one.
No, we're not in that one. But that was pretty, to me, I feel like if trail running is going to get, I guess, popular in the mainstream, that's the event that it's going to be. It's going to be these short, because they're so exciting to watch. You're battling the entire time. It's not, oh, hey, you can go to bed and then get up and then watch the last 6 hours of the race. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of tough for even my attention span when I have friends running the race. So I'm really enthralled with the short distance, especially the mountain stuff.
Mhm.
Mountain's exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think I've been on a couple panels with World Athletics and Professional Trail Runners Association, but I think everyone is also in agreement that the mountain discipline would be what we would want to push for an Olympic event because it would maintain viewership, keep people interested. It's short and sweet. It is cool. People might be able to relate more to running an hour and a half as opposed to 12 hours, which is something I can't even fathom. And I run a lot and I still can't wrap my head around what that would be like. So, all for the mountain stuff.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Now, you mentioned the Olympics and you sit on some boards, councils of people who actually make decisions. So I like that someone who's doing the sport is actually making decisions on the direction of the sport because you kind of get to control your destiny, your profession. The Olympics, I myself am a little bit, I'm reserved on it because I've seen what's happened with some other niche sports. I raced BMX, was a national champion. It became a Olympic sport, and it definitely changed how the sport was raced both nationally and internationally. I didn't like how it changed, but some people did. I'm very usually wrong, but how do you see the trail running to the Olympics going? Are you in favor of it? Are you not in favor? Is there some pros that you see and cons that you see? That's a lot of questions. I'm sorry.
I think, yes, I'm generally in favor of it. I don't think it's totally fair that there's no off-road running discipline in the Olympics. You have track and you have the marathon. You don't have anything, you don't even have cross country. So having something off-road, I think would just give a different group of runners the opportunity to participate in the Olympics that aren't good at these singular disciplines, or not that they're not good, but maybe not the best. And I also think it's crazy we go from 10K, which is 6 miles, to the marathon, which is 26 miles, and there's nothing in between, and you're missing a lot of talented people in there that they might be better at the half marathon range, which is about what a mountain race is as well, the hour and a half range. So that's kind of crazy too. I agree that it has probably tainted some sports. The sport that came to mind for me was sport climbing, and I've talked to friends in that world too, and not a ton of them are happy with what that has done to the world of climbing as well, to have that an Olympic sport now. So I could see both sides, but I do think it would be cool to give, I think mountain and trail runners have a different skill set, and it would be cool to showcase that next to like here's a road runner and here's a track runner. Because I also don't think that just because you win the marathon or the 10K, that doesn't mean you're going to win the trail race because it's a completely different skill set and it's not just about who is the fittest or most efficient. There's a lot more that goes into it. So from that end, I think it would be fun. And it might also help, I hope, with drug testing becoming more prevalent in the trail world if it were to become an Olympic sport, because right now there's like nothing, no testing. There's some testing at national and world championship events, but aside from that, no one gets tested. And I think that can be a little scary.
Yeah, I didn't have plans on talking about this, but yeah, that's a big thing for me, and it's actually Grayson. You said it perfectly. It's why I'm in favor of it becoming an Olympic sport, is because in sports I've known a lot of people, especially in the cycling world, and cycling is maybe the dirtiest sport that has ever persisted on the planet. I mean, and famously so. I don't think I'm saying anything that anyone doesn't know. And after race test is pretty much an IQ test of, you can't take these things beforehand. You get a lot of people that mess up and still fail the post race drug test. But what I want to see is the out of competition testing for some of these athletes that and no one in particular, but I just think there's when you see huge leaps from some people, they could be 100% clean. I don't know, but I think it can give the sport a very bad look if you constantly see that. But if you have out of competition testing, I think it puts a kind of hindrance on those people to want to do that. Does that make sense? Being as
Yeah.
PC as possible, like saying it, drug test, I mean, anyone's naive if they don't think there isn't drugs and performance enhancing drugs in any sport, whether it's a hobbyist to if there's money on the line. Like people cheat. That's what they do. They cheat on, words with friends. So why would I think they don't cheat in a real sport, right?
Yeah, especially when there's money on the line too.
There's money in their sponsorships, and there's something even more important to a lot of people, which is like online clout. You start winning some races and you get noticed and things like that. So that's one of the reasons I'm in favor of it becoming an Olympic sport, because the out of competition testing with WADA would come after that. They have their own problems, but it's something. It's a step in the right direction.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say no to more testing. That would be nice.
Just more eyeballs on our sport, right?
Yeah.
Trail running is real, right? People that are not in the world of trail running, I don't think they even realize it exists. So I'm definitely in favor of putting more eyeballs on trail running, and at the end of the day, drugs will always be a problem regardless of testing, but I still think there should be testing, and we do what we can do.
Yeah.
Got to get off the Mexican supplements, right?
Yeah.
It's the mousetrap mouse problem. There's always going to be the mouse is always getting smarter. They're always building a better mousetrap. It's a game. I got to watch a good friend, professional cyclist, go through it. Just people would come out of nowhere and clobber fields, and it was just like, whoa, that guy never showed that kind of talent before. And okay, whatever you say, I guess we're good here. So, but yeah, now that we're off the drug topic, which is good, because I don't know, I don't know why I don't like talking about it, just because I think people think that I think that everyone's cheating, when it's not what I'm saying. I'm not naive either. So Grayson, what's next for you running wise on the calendar? You said you're going to run some road events. Is there anything big coming up, or because I'm kind of unfamiliar with the road scene?
Oh,
Although I might be eligible for Tracksmith soon, some Tracksmith gear, according to my buddy Will, from running so many road miles this winter. So we'll see.
go for it. Okay, well, I'll be making my marathon debut on the road in May.
Oh, sweet.
Leading up to that, I'll do Gate River 15K, which is normally the US 15K champs, but this year it's the day before half champs. So it's not. It's just a normal race this year. And then Cherry Blossom 10 mile, which I think is still the US 10 mile champs. So those will be my two Rust Busters, and then into the marathon for my first one.
Nice. That's awesome. What marathon are you running?
I'll tell you this, and you might have to cut it out.
Okay. Or just this random marathon that you're running. What made you pick it in a non-specific city?
Okay. Well, I was pretty sick last year, and I just spent a lot of time getting perspective being sick for so long that I realized, like running a marathon is one thing. If I didn't do that in my professional career, I think I would be pretty sad that I didn't try to do. I started out as a road runner, and so that was always something I wanted to do, and it just kind of hasn't materialized. There's been so many races. When you open your door to track and road and trail, there are so many races to pick from, and I just, yeah, didn't do one. So I decided I'm just going to commit and do one this spring so that if I get sick again and that's the end of my career, at least I can finish feeling happy and kind of at peace with what I did do during my career. So I was looking for, it needed to be April or May. So timing was important because I'll start trail stuff again in June and I want to give myself time to recover. And then I really wanted one that was pretty. That might be silly, but I pick trail races sometimes because they're in cool places, and like, why can't we do that with road races too? And if you go online and look at the photos from this unnamed race that we're talking about, they're gorgeous, and it looks like a trail race almost. It's not on dirt, it's all pavement, and you're on roads, but it's in a really gorgeous place, and you get to see some cool things along the way. And I think for me, running is about that mostly, having a good experience and getting kind of soul points. So even though it's a road race and I still want to run fast, I want that too. And I talked to a lot of my friends and they said for your first one, it's cool to have a debut that you just come out guns blazing and knock it out of the park. But it's also cool to just have a good experience with the event first and then build on that too. So that's the route I'm going towards this time is it may not result in the fastest time ever. I have big time goals for the marathon for myself, but hopefully it's a good experience and yeah, so that's kind of why I chose it.
That's why we pick a lot of races, right, Rob? Like just to go to the place. We're not competitive, but it's the same thing for us. We just want to see somewhere cool and, see something new and experience something, and
Yeah.
good a reason as any to pick any race, I think.
I think it's the main reason. I mean, there's trails everywhere, right? I mean, but we're paying to hop on a plane and fly to another part of the country and rent an Airbnb, and there's a ton of cost associated with it. I mean, that's the main reason we go.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I know we had Abby Herring on. I mentioned her before. I think if I remember correctly, it was a while ago, but she kind of had a similar story of, I went and did my first one and it was good. I just had a good experience and learned a lot, and she didn't put any pressure on herself to go perform at her best, and comes back 8 months later and does much better at the Columbus Marathon. So I mean, I like that that's your approach to it. Like you're just going to go out and send it down the road and, see what happens, right, Grayson?
Yeah, just send it. See.
Yeah, no pressure, nothing. And some unnamed city somewhere. So that's pretty sweet. You've got the marathon, and then I did see and I always want to call this Big Sky Race out in Palisades.
Yeah, broken arrow. That's
Broken Arrow. Yeah. Why do I write it down as Big Sky? Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow, Rob. It's not Big Sky. It's not in Montana.
Yeah, I think we should sign up for that race. Once you run it, you'll remember it.
It's full. We got to sign up like that day that it opens.
All right, next time.
So you're signed up for a few races there.
Yeah, I'm signed up for all three right now. I won't do all three, but the
Good.
reason
That's
is
good.
the VK is the VK selection race for the world team. The 23K is the Golden Trail Series race, and it's the only one in the US this year. And then the 40K is the selection race for the world's 40K team.
Oh,
I need to decide what teams do I want to be on for Worlds, and or do I want to compete in the Golden Trail Series as a series? Because if I do, I need to do that one, or else I'll have to go to Europe to do almost all three of them to get points. So there's a lot of decisions to make.
I guess it's a group, but the Golden Trail Series, it's an organization, I guess. But that is one of they do such a good job with the online viewership. Those bike guys are insane. The guys you see them well, they're behind you, I guess, but you get them all the time. And those guys are insane, and women, I'm sure, that take the little mountain cam with them. But I think the Golden Trail Series is what trail running should be. I can't say enough nice things about them. Have you watched any of the events, Rob?
Got a couple. I don't think I've ever watched one from start to finish.
Yeah.
Clips here and there.
There's a pretty popular highlight. Killian, and I forget who is racing, coming down the finish or whatever, flying down, because you get to see these athletes like Grayson bomb these downhills. That's very scary to me, but however you do that, I don't know. But I think the Golden Trail Series is awesome. So I'm hoping you do that one because I like that series, and then I'd get to see you race over in Europe more for the series and hopefully win a championship with the Golden Trail Series.
Yeah, I think that could be cool. It's hard to turn down. I have an auto spot for World Champs because I'm the defending champion of the classic discipline. So it's hard to turn down a USA spot, a Team USA spot, and the World Champs and Golden Trail Series final are only a couple weeks apart. So you have to be careful planning your season and deciding what you want to do because if you do both, that's a big ask at the end of a long season. We'll see.
Real quick, because you mentioned that you have a spot, but how do you get on to our national team for trail running? Like, what is the criteria? What is the
Great question.
Oh, thank you. I don't get that very often, Grayson. Thank you.
Good one. Okay, so for the VK, the classic disciplines, there are four disciplines. There's the VK, the classic, the 40K, and the 80K team.
What is the classic?
That's what I do. That's like the mountain running. So
Okay.
about 15K. A VK is a vertical kilometer. It's about 5K. It's even shorter than I did both at Worlds last time, but I would not call myself an uphill specialist. And then 40K is called the short trail team, even though it's still quite long. And the 80K is called the long trail team. Um, so for the three shorter teams, there are selection races. So you have to go to those races and you have to be top four to make the team. It's pretty cut and dry. It will roll down if someone declines their spot. If it'll roll down, and I think the cutoff is maybe you have to be within the top 10, so it can't just keep rolling down to people.
They're not going to get to me, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
probably not.
Is there a hobby jogger team for guys in their 40s?
There's a masters team, actually. You can
Oh,
do,
sweet.
yeah. So for those three races, there are selection races, and two of them are at Broken Arrow. And then the 80K team, there's one selection race, but there's also resume spots, just because longer distances like that are a lot more fickle, and it's we understand that you might be really good at 100Ks and this just isn't your day, but we still would want you on the team. So there's two auto spots that you can race for, and then the other spots are filled by resume, which is kind of nice. Yeah, so that's how you make the team. I have the auto spot because similar to track, if you win the world championships title on the track, you have the auto spot to come back because everyone wants to race the defending champion in that event. So yeah, that's why I have the spot. And if you win, you get to go back automatically. So just win. That's the easy way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, to be the man or woman, you got to beat the man or woman. I snuck Ric Flair in twice in this show. Rob, that's pretty good. That's a new record,
impressive.
I think. Yeah, that's very impressive. That's awesome. That's a very good breakdown, Grayson, because I wasn't sure, exactly what the criteria is. If there's just, and I'm glad to hear that it's not just a coach's pick or something, because that never bodes well for the final roster because coaches do have favorites. And
And even for the resume spots, it's a whole committee that gets to vote on who goes. There's not one person, and I get votes too. I'm part of the committee. So there's athlete representation, support staff, other coaches, older retired athletes. It's a good mix of people to hopefully get the most well-rounded team.
yeah, I mean, we want to go out to Worlds and do our best. I would think. Hopefully, that's our intention for whoever's picking this team. So that's good to hear. I'm very glad to hear that. And I didn't realize there was four different classes for Worlds. I'd watched the long trail before I know, and the classic. I didn't realize the vertical was part of the world. So, which is also just an insane race idea. I think they need to do one downhill.
That's called fell racing.
That's called fell race. Yeah, it's probably I think that's aptly named. Fell racing is probably a good name for it because you have to wear a helmet.
They do not, but they just go down, no up.
Yeah, I was watching the VK and at Broken Arrow, and I was like, what if they just rode the lift up and then bombed it on the way, bombed down, more like little mountain bike downhill.
Yeah.
We'd be good for the first like 20, 30 meters of that, Rob, I think.
I think that's pushing it.
I don't think we can make it 20 or 30
I don't
or a
know.
hamstring falls off.
Going straight down? No, probably not.
So that's awesome. So you're back into that. You're going to be at nationals because you are the returning champion.
I'll be at Worlds, but I don't know if I'll do nationals yet.
Worlds, sorry. Yeah, Worlds. That's what I meant to say was Worlds. Yeah. You'll be at Worlds where you have the world championship belt, not the national. So that's already turning out to be a pretty busy year for you. That's a lot. That's a lot of training. Are you coached or are you self-coached?
No, I work with David Roche.
Big name in the sport right now. He's
Oh yeah.
I do listen to the SWAT podcast with he and Megan. And yeah, lot of information there. Super interesting guy. I'd like to just have a conversation with him. Maybe not even about running necessarily, but seems like he's been around sports his whole life, and I like the fact that he has his ideas and he puts them to the test and himself, and had a phenomenal year last year. He won a Hobby Jogger award, right, Rob?
He did.
Yeah,
You gave out the awards. So.
I wrote it down somewhere, but yeah, he won an award here at the Hobby Jogger, one of the top trail performances. Maybe it was top trail runner. I don't know. I have to go back and look, but yeah, that's pretty neat. So,
Oh, David.
yeah. So how is it like, or how is it working with the Roches?
It's good. Yeah, I think I just work with David, so she's very supportive, but I don't, as far as I know, doesn't have a hand in writing my actual training that gets done. But yeah, they just know so much and they have such a big background in science, and I think that's pretty cool to have, and it makes me feel more comfortable when the training feels really science backed and there's a reason behind it and it's been proven to work. But we're also not doing crazy stuff. I think the best stuff is pretty simple and it's not rocket science. And yeah, so I think David's really good about that too. Like the workouts, I don't do double threshold. I don't do a lot of those trendy workout things. It's pretty bread and butter for the most part, and stuff you'd see on an amateur's workout training log, maybe just faster paces. But the structure is the same, so it's not crazy.
Yeah, that's one thing about that. He may talk about some of that, but I've heard that from others with his training structure. It's about being consistent with any sport if you want to get good at it and better at it. I like from what I listen to and how he coaches his athletes, he coaches them as an actual coach, not just a number. And he seemingly, because I don't have any firsthand experience, so when I say seemingly, it's not like I'm doubting it, but it doesn't seem like he puts his athletes just through a meat grinder just to do it. And then who's ever standing at the end, of course, is going to be really good because they're just the strongest of the strong and they survive the training. Where I think I have seen some other coaches that it's like a meat grinder of a training block. And oh, they got sick, they got hurt. Too bad they got caught in the meat grinder. But these two, they did really, really good. Well, yeah, because they were the 2 of the 10 that didn't get injured. Like,
Right.
right, I think it seems that, and again, I'm saying seems because I don't know him and he's never coached me. But from the outside looking in, that he takes care of athletes, more concerned with getting you healthy to the starting line. Am I accurate there?
Yes, I say that's a pretty accurate assessment of everything. And I've had coaches that do treat it like I'm just gonna throw a bunch of eggs against the wall and whoever doesn't crack is those are our champions. And that's not how David operates, which thankfully, because I would not last long under that situation.
Yeah, and I think you lose a lot of talented people when you coach that way. I've had coaches like that. Didn't last very long with them. I'm too bullheaded and mostly just worried about not getting. I've always been worried about not getting injured. Has been my primary focus, as Rob knows, right, Rob?
100%.
Don't get injured is number one for me. Always, always critical. So yeah, that's awesome. I think you're the first David Roche coached athlete I've had on. So pretty cool. Yeah.
Swap.
Yeah. Yeah. Go swap. I like it. I listen to his podcast. I have some differing opinions on things that he talks about, but you should. It's healthy. That's a normal thing. And I wish him all the best luck next summer chasing Western States. I actually just watched his Western States video that he's doing with, forget the gentleman's name, Nick Bear? Cody Bear, not Nick Bear.
Nick Bear's the BPN guy, and Cody Bear's the photography guy.
Yes. But yeah, those are cool. Like I watched one of his, he ran up a mountain in Colorado and then ran back down it. Like, I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's getting a lot of attention on the sport, and I'm rooting for him. So hopefully he'll be on my, top 3 trail runners of next year. Maybe he'll be number 1. Seems like a good enough dude. So I root for him.
Oh, David.
So Grayson, I have to ask, is there a story behind the airplane arms?
There is actually. Well, when I was a little kid, I used to run around on the playground a lot because it was fun. I don't really know why, for no reason at all, with my friends. And I used to, if it was windy, if I had a jacket on, kind of put it out unzipped, and it was like wings, and you'd get like a little lift off. And I always thought that was pretty cool. And when I started trail running, there were moments on the trail where I'd feel like I just want to put my arms out like I'm flying because this feels so fun and unfettered joy, like when I was 6 again. And so I one day was like, if I'm not getting this feeling of airplane arms when I'm running, I'm doing it wrong because I think that's where my joy should come from. And so that's why I keep saying airplane arms or you're doing it wrong. Because I think if you're not feeling that joyful, like you're 6 on the playground again, especially when you're trail running, you're not doing something right, or you're going too hard, or you're not appreciating where you are, or taking in the moment. And it was just a good reminder for myself to like recenter during those moments. If I'm being grumpy, but I'm in this amazing place and grateful just to be using my legs. Doesn't matter how fast they're going. So it's a good thing I come back to anchor myself.
That's a great answer. I think every runner, needs a mantra or something that recenters them, during the dark times. And there are plenty when you're running.
Yeah. And like I said before, I didn't start running to be a world champion. That was not why I started doing this. It was to have fun. So I need to remember why I started in the first place.
That's probably one of the best answers we've had for anything on this show, I think, Rob.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's number one.
That's good. That's going to win an award this year.
Nice.
That was awesome, Grayson. Yeah, that's a great reason. I'm going to start doing airplane arms.
Yeah, sometimes I think of it too, I've heard if you smile when you're in pain, your rate of perceived exertion goes down. And I think of it that way too. Sometimes you don't feel like doing airplane arms, you feel stupid, but that's part of the reason you should do it because you need to get over yourself and just do it. And then you realize, okay, I feel better actually, even if it's silly.
Yeah, looking stupid has never stopped me, Grayson. Don't worry.
Good.
I'm now airplane arms, so I like it. That's a great reason. Yeah, that was the best answer we've had to any question on this show.
Amazing. I'm honored.
Glad to hear that. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about, Grayson, is your company, Wild Stride Paper Company. Because I'm an entrepreneur. It takes a lot of guts to start your own company, put your own money into something like that. How did you come up with this idea and how is it going?
Okay, yeah. So the idea was hatched in 2019, end of 2018, beginning of 2019. And I was making a training log for myself. I've always liked written things. I still like to write on paper. I don't need everything to be digital.
My notebook right here.
Yep. Yeah, I just enjoy the experience of writing stuff on paper. So I was making a training log that was also a day planner because I couldn't find one that was both, and I didn't want to carry around 2 books all the time. I wanted it all in one place. And I also wanted to see stress is stress in training. And if I have 6 meetings one day, I want to be able to see that next to the run that I did because that all counts towards what I'm doing and why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. So I made this handmade thing and I kept having friends ask, "Where did you buy that?" And I said, "I made this." So the entrepreneur in me was like, "I should sell these because people want one." So I started the first year. My grandma loaned me my startup money, and it took me 9 months to pay her back, but I paid her back in full. And that was the beginning of it, and now we're on the 7th edition this year, 6th edition, going on 7, and it's been just growing every year. We transitioned to Wild Strides Paper Co. last year. I hadn't really had a brand name for anything. It was just the Racin Grayson training log, and I kind of wanted to separate it from myself as an athlete so that it could grow more and I could bring in more products that weren't related to my running. And I just wanted that separation for myself. And I just brought on a partner last month. So we're growing big and I'm really excited for the products that we're going to be coming out with in the future and where it will take us. But I'm team paper, and I know that's old-fashioned, but I don't think we need another reason to be on our phones as much as people like apps. I know I don't need another reason to be on my phone, and I can't imagine many other people do.
Yeah, that's awesome, Grace. I'm so happy to hear that story, and shout out grandma for having faith. That's good to hear.
She
And
gets free training logs for life now because she was my startup funder.
yeah, you got to. I know, and that's probably it probably would have helped my running if I would have, after a race or like a long run, like wrote down how I felt, because then I have the ability to go back and, well, what did I have for lunch that day? What did I have for dinner the night before? Like, you can really see what's working. Because when I was looking at that, I was like, well, that would have made a lot of sense. Like, now that long run went really, really well, but I can't remember like what I did to the build up before that. So now you have it on paper and you just kind of, flip through it and see what it is. And I'm going to order one because I have multiple notebooks here. I have yellow ones. I have folders. I got all sorts of stuff. Do
I'll
you?
get you one. I'll hook you up.
I appreciate that, Rob. Do you use notebooks?
I do. I do use the hardback ones, but I definitely need what you're selling because I too have the same boat. I'll have a great run. I'm like, did I sleep well last night or was that the night before? And I don't remember what I ate. And
Right.
I know I'm trying to avoid eating bread. Did that help? You know, so it would be nice to actually track it.
Like, oh, my foot was hurting. Was that the left or right one 6 days ago? And now the left one's hurting. Has this been a 6 day long thing or is this new? Because I forget sometimes which side of my body was hurting.
I think it's just more comfortable to pick up a pencil or a pen and
Yeah.
just jot down whatever you need to jot down versus finding your phone and getting on the keyboard. You want to keep it as short as possible. It's just way more efficient and more comfortable just to write in a notebook. Yeah.
Well, you also remember things like, because I have my work notebook here where I could just pull up like my notepad, but if I write it down, I'm a network engineer, so I remember things a lot better of things I need to know for work. And they'll be like, well, how did they'll ping me questions. How do you know that? Well, I don't want to tell them, like they think I'm a genius, but no, I actually have it all written down right here. Like I'm not searching the archives like a Jedi.
You didn't memorize the OSI model, Casey?
No, no, I didn't. But I got it right here, Rob.
There you go.
Yeah.
It
So
helps avoid comparison traps too. I like Strava and I use Strava, but it can be overwhelming. You have a good run and you put it in Strava and you're like, great, I was the slowest of my friends today. So I actually popped my own bubble doing this where a written training log is personal and it can just stay that way and no one needs to be judging you or judging yourself.
yeah, that's we've talked about that a little bit on here of Strava and the goods and the bads. Like it does motivate me. Like I'll see my buddy Will Grant get out for a run. It's like, I got to get off the couch and do something today. If they got out and it's 20 degrees, Rob got out and it's 20 degrees. Well, it doesn't get 20 degrees where he is, but I got to get out. So that it does have its benefits, but I like the written journal. I'm going to order one because I like to write things down and I like to support small businesses as well, especially upstarts with someone in the community. So
Thanks. Yeah, appreciate I'll get you hooked up.
yeah, I do what I can. We are a Saucony house here. We do have a pair of peregrines.
To see it.
Yeah, that's my girlfriend Annie. She's sitting over there. That's what she hits the trails with, is the peregrine. So great company. You got anything new coming out with Saucony that you could talk about? We like gear here. We like shoes.
I know. I don't know if I'm allowed to say. They are coming out with some fun new shoes this year. I'm pretty excited to get in the lab with them. They do lab testing with all the athletes, and we're gonna figure out for my form what's more efficient in what shoe before my marathon so that I can show up in the best shoe for me, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, those shoe guys they're pretty. Whenever you get a chance to talk to the shoe engineers, it's wild what you can learn about your form and gait efficiency and angles, and heel striking, midfoot, running on your toes, anything. Yeah, there are a lot of information out there from those guys. And so it'd be pretty cool to see what you end up in the mystery marathon with on your foot.
You'll find out soon.
And you're also sponsored by Osprey, correct?
Yep. Mhm.
Osprey, the bags. Yep. My previously mentioned girlfriend has commandeered my Osprey bag because she liked it so much. So
She has good taste.
yeah, she has great taste. That's what I tell her every day. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Grayson. So that's cool. You get to try out some new shoes and hopefully have a little input and maybe something new coming down the line for Saucony. So I like the pink shoes that they released.
Oh, the carbon shoes that were pink.
Yeah, there's a guy around here that wears them all the
Fun.
time. I think he has like 10 pair. Yeah. Yeah, great colorway. Rob, do you have the pink shoes?
I do not. I think you should definitely get a pair though.
They're above my level, I think. I need to be lower to the ground a little bit, Again, Rob, trying to stay healthy. That's my main focus. So right on the ground, barefoot if I can. Not one of those crazy, but I like to be close to the ground. Well, Grayson, I certainly appreciate your time. Shout out to your company, startup. Awesome work you did there. We wish you all the best of luck at whatever marathon it is that you're running this year.
Thank you so much. It was so fun to be here today and chat with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so our listeners know, where can they find you on the social media?
They can find me at Racin__Grayson on Instagram. Well, any social media handle, they're all the same. And then my company is Wild Strides Paper Co. or wildstridespaper.com. It's pretty cut and dry, but we'd love to hear from you or have a visit and check out our training logs.
Absolutely. I will be ordering one. So thanks again so much for your time, Racin Grayson. We appreciate it. And I look forward to watching your marathon and your journey this year.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Hobby Chop. We hope you've enjoyed our conversation today. And if you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support keeps us moving forward. Until next time, keep those feet moving and enjoy the miles.